Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Patrick Hawe. I'm an associated member of T3 Trading Group, which is a registered broker-dealer member of FINRA SIPC. All trades placed by myself are placed through T3 Trading Group. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your own financial condition. Please read this disclosure in full. Thank you. Position update. Nothing new. A little heavier in AMD than I was yesterday because it ended up traded up after hours initially, but I guess they didn't love what Lisa Sue had to bring. Although it got bought up today, so I guess I can't really complain too much. We'll see if that is it or not. I don't want to say I hope it is because no one cares what I hope, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, not a bad candle overall, but let's chat about the market today. So I titled the video for today, Tariff Man Takes the Day Off, because that's pretty much what we saw today. Pretty quiet day overall on those news headlines. Didn't really, unless I missed something, but I don't think I did. No real updates on any of either the calls that have happened or the calls that are bound to happen, specifically the China call. China names were trading down a bit today, a little bit weaker, but I don't know. Overall, BABA is still a little extended on the daily. JD lost its 8-day, but still intact overall. I'd want to see those pivot back up pretty soon. Again, they don't have a date for that call yet. They said that they're going to make the call, but they're in no rush to. So we'll see if anything comes out with that. But overall, fairly quiet day again today. Day 3 up, day 3 down for the VIX. I don't think anyone, including myself, coming into Monday morning, expected this fairly orderly uptrending week that we've had. Again, it's Wednesday. This is day 3 up in a row. Day 3 down for the VIX. Not complaining about it. Just definitely a little surprised to see it. Do we get a day 4, a day 5? I don't necessarily think so, but I also didn't think we'd just have 3 up days in a row like this. So I guess we'll see. Coming into today, we had a little bit of a gap down in SPY and Qs, mostly in the Qs because of AMD and Google. Google we saw trade down decently. They missed a couple key components on their earnings, specifically revenue and more specifically cloud revenue. Because they missed cloud revenue, you had Amazon down, which actually didn't trade too well today. Microsoft was gapping down. This ended up recovering okay though. Amazon reports tomorrow after the bell, so that'll be the big focus for tomorrow for earnings. Today we got Qualcomm and ARM. Let's check out how those are doing. I saw Qualcomm trading up initially. Yeah, so far so good. Those numbers look pretty solid. And Qualcomm, we were talking about this really big 175 to 180 breakout here, which is definitely going to be worth watching tomorrow. Ideally, they don't gap it up too much. It looked like it was trading up fairly, yeah, it's a little bit off those after hours highs, but through its 200 day, again 175 to 180, it's a pretty big breakout. So that's definitely gonna be something to watch tomorrow. Those numbers looked pretty solid. They beat EPS, they beat revenue, their guidance, all pretty solid beats there. So Qualcomm should be one to watch for tomorrow. And then ARM, the other big name today. Looks like ARM, from what I saw, was okay. And the revenue missed. Guidance, okay. Guidance kind of in line. EPS beats. Kind of mixed numbers and mixed results here. ARM down a little bit, but this is a day 3 up for ARM as well. So it's okay, but definitely not spectacular, and not a spectacular reaction, which makes sense. But yeah, so overall, just kind of a quieter, calmer day today. Again, a little bit of a down open this morning. It looked like we were going to get real ugly there for a second. We opened with the gap down on SPYs and Qs. IWM, the winner today, IWM actually was gapping up with SPY and Qs gapping down. Again, little hairy there in the open. We opened, traded up, 5-minute ADMA pushed us down, and looked like, again, this was going to be okay. We had, day one up, day two up this week. Today was day three. It wouldn't be that surprising or out of the ordinary to get a down day, but we more or less V-bottomed that little flush that we had in the morning, and from there it was calm, collective uptrends today. Again, fairly quiet, not too much in the tariff news or anything like that. We had data. ISM was out this morning, a couple different numbers, which they all missed, and those misses helps with potentially fears of either, the economy running too hot, aka inflation running too hot, aka potential fears of the Fed actually hiking rates again, which, I don't think they're going to do that, but people like to, make up scenarios, I guess. But that helped the TLT gap up and trade fairly well intraday. The dollar gap down, recovered a little bit, but for the most part, TLT up, dollar down is bullish for us. So that certainly helped with the overall tone today. Taking a look at what we were looking at this morning, again, my main focus was AMD, which was pretty sloppy in the morning. It wasn't, kind of just tight back and forth here, but overall a decent recovery. This is what I wanted to see in general with AMD. If it was down, have it get bought back up. It wasn't bought back up with huge authority per se, but there is a lot of overhead supply with it as well. We'll see if this can have follow through or not. I'm thinking that it can, but you never know, obviously. NVIDIA traded pretty well too. NVIDIA with a solid day 3 up, actually through its 200 day, through its 8 day as well. Seems like the semis in general traded decently today. Not the best performing sector. Looks like third best SMH. That's a solid candle for SMH. SOX, SOXX, that's a really solid candle for SOXX. Micron traded well. I know some of you were asking about that this morning. That's a decent candle there. And even Intel, the worst of them all, was green today. Not an impressive candle, definitely. If anything, it's just sideways for 3 days in a row. But it did trade up today, so that's decent. Hang on 1 second, getting a message about something. Sorry, give me 1 second here. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, semis in general trading decently today with those AMD earnings, but AMD was able to recover intraday, so that's decent. Leading sector XBI, which is impressive for sure, and that always helps the IWM when the XBI trades well, and obviously when it doesn't trade well, that tends to hurt the IWM. But XBI leading, semis leading second, and then tech, IWM, financials, pretty much almost every sector up today, actually. Only one that's slightly red is materials, but even that traded up intraday. And for the most part, everything else green. Again, a fairly calm, quiet, bullish day. VIX red, oil red, Bitcoin red. Bitcoin had an inside day yesterday. A little bit of an inside and down day, but not too much follow through there. Crypto names, An MSTR, I guess they reported earnings. I don't know what they reported. It's not even really trading like it just reported earnings, but I don't know. Maybe we get some follow through there. But overall, crypto, nothing too special there. As for the other names, Google, so AMD recovered a bit. Google, a little bit of a recovery, poked down under 190. 190 to 187 was the support zone we were looking at. It held 188 as its official low with that 50-day right there. An okay candle. It's probably, it's kind of just in this price congestion area though. Might be a little messy, but not bad. Not bad for Google. As we know, AMD was okay, and the others were nothing too special, despite, for the most part, us trading well today. Disney numbers were okay, not spectacular, but it's a very ugly candle for Disney. Not surprised to see it. Disney is one of my least favorite stocks to trade for sure. Not necessarily just because it goes down all the time, because that's not true, but it just tends to be a bit sloppy. Uber reported. Uber also, an okay report, not terrible, not great, but definitely not good action today. It's a pretty ugly candle for Uber. It did hold that 64 support though, tailed below it a few times, but was getting bought under 64 for Uber. So that's okay, but probably a bit damaged there and not one to necessarily focus on until it can really get back above like 68. It looks like is your level for Uber. What else? Enphase, which solars are very tricky. That was another disappointment too. This opened, traded lower, and just super sloppy all day. Enphase, and those numbers actually were decent too. But again, it's solar. Solar's a very hard sector. What else? Apple had negative news this morning from China. China's probing their app fees or something like that. We're looking at this to hold below 229. It actually opened pretty much right at there and then couldn't really stay below that 229. So hopefully no harm, no foul there for Apple, and decent inside day, decent candle there. Market, I'm sure, just helping Apple out a bit. Quantum names, no follow through, but inside day for RGTI. So could probably have these on the list again tomorrow. Inside day for RGTI. IONQ, not an inside day, but a tail down to its daily 8 and 21 EMA, and then closing okay there. Not a bad candle either. So probably worth just having those on the radar. Not necessarily they needed to go today. They don't need to go tomorrow, but those charts seem to be intact so far. Qualcomm, I'm noticing, is going red now, which I'm kind of surprised to see that. But for the most part, it seems like we're trading. These earning names seem to be trading down no matter what. There's definitely been some decent earnings reports, but just not good enough. I guess Palantir is just stealing everyone's lunch. That's obviously a joke, but for the most part, looks like a lot of these earnings names haven't been too impressive. And then lastly, HIMS, which someone from the YouTube, I think it was Jake off YouTube, brought up HIMS yesterday. We were looking at this for a couple of different scenarios for the short, just because it's so extended and is still extended, and now you have a topping tail on this daily chart. So maybe tomorrow a little bit better follow through on the downside. But HIMS, we said, I think either down through yesterday's high of 42 into the 44 to 45 area, which was my least favorite, or if it gets really extreme, goes over 45, gets like 46, 47. At that point, it would just be so extreme on the daily, you'd almost really have to start taking a look there. So HIMS got to like mid 44s. He did have a shooting star on the 5-minute chart. Not impossible to get into that, but also not really getting the downside follow through yesterday's high of 42. So even though this did trade down intraday, still very extended for sure. But again, topping tail on that daily chart, maybe some better follow through tomorrow. I'm surprised this Qualcomm's trading down. We'll have to visit that tomorrow, but I'm surprised to see that. And yeah, I think that's all I really got. We got Amazon earnings tomorrow after the bell. We have the January jobs number Friday morning. Those are the main last two big events that we have for this week. And again, this week has been interesting. It hasn't been bad. There's definitely been stuff to do. I think today was the least opportunistic day of all these days. Still, obviously, some stuff to do today, but it's been a pretty bullish week after kind of a scary start to the week, quote unquote scary, but obviously a decent gap down coming into Monday morning, but 3 strong days in a row. Do we get a day 4? Maybe. Do we get a day 5? Maybe. Definitely didn't think we'd be seeing these 3 green candles here, so we'll see. And again, obviously, I keep harping on it, but two-way trading, be ready for it still. Anything can happen. News can drop overnight, throughout the day. So just kind of always be ready although it's been calm and steady this week, don't let this markets lull you into a sleep. Because, Mr. Tariff Man can come out at any time and give us a little surprise, whether it's good or bad. And I think that's all I really got for today. Happy to take a look at any questions, comments, complaints, concerns that anyone may have out there. Let me pull up the YouTube real quick. Okay. Actually, sorry, give me one more second. All right. Starting with the VTF here. Some stocks aren't acting so well on good earnings reports. Our stocks priced to perfection. I don't know if that's a rhetorical question, Billy. I mean, that's kind of what it seems like. Although, then you got like, Palantir, which I guess is just a little bit of an anomaly here at this point. This Palantir was so strong, but then they crushed their report, and it traded up on it, has not really given those gains back. Other than that, yeah, it kind of seems so. I mean, maybe just the real big money, the big traders and investors out there, are just not seeing not seeing necessarily the guidance, the growth guidance that they want to see. It's a little puzzling, I'll give you that. And like Rock pointed out, everything, all these earnings reports seem to not be reacting too well, yet market at all-time highs, or at least just off all-time highs, but a lot of names trading pretty well. It's a good point. You may be right. Obviously, I don't have an exact answer for you on that, but it kind of seems that way, and maybe it's a warning sign. Maybe it's just name specific for these names that are reporting. It's hard to say. One thing I know that you, or at least I, will not and should not do is short the market based on that feel, because this market can definitely push you out long before it turns. But it kind of feels that way. It feels like a little bit of a potential warning sign, but there's nothing really to do with it for now other than just kind of be aware of it and keep it in the back of your head. But potentially, for sure. Yeah, that's for sure, Peter. Arm short tomorrow. Tate asked Mel, arm short tomorrow. Good, but not good enough. Yeah, the arm, I almost wouldn't even say it's a good report. It's okay. I don't really think it's good. Qualcomm, I think, is a good report. Again, so, maybe I'll take a look at the call and see if they say anything, but I'm surprised to see that Qualcomm's trading down. It looked like they kind of crushed those numbers. For ARM short tomorrow, I definitely don't hate that idea. I don't really like that report. We'll see where it opens. Ideally, it opens above this 163 to 164, and we can short it back down through 163 to 164 with a target of like 160, 158. We'll see where it opens, but I like that idea, Tate. So definitely remind us tomorrow morning on that. Qualcomm worth the long tomorrow of 170. Yeah, and we'll see. But it seems like a good report for Qualcomm. And again, we'll see where this opens. But yeah, either 170 or you got like 173, 174, kind of all these tails over here. A potential breakout with then 175 and 180 being very big levels. I mean, maybe just whoever's selling above that still has supply to sell, but definitely worth a look. Qualcomm long, ARM short tomorrow, for sure. Hey, Pac, what question? kind of a long shot, but just wondering if you can take a look at meta on the 5-minute. Of course I can. Is there a scanner / indicator that would track how many 5-minute candles that are either red or green? Where you don't have to switch between. I'm sure there is. I don't have or use one. I'm sure there is. I'm sure it costs money as well to use that. Maybe someone in here has a better answer for you. It'd have to be some type of scanner that's just measuring the open and the close bar for bar. Personally, I don't have one. I've never used one. I'm kind of just always cycling through back and forth names. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I remember we were talking about this up here. I said like over 720, mid 720s. The only reason I said that is because I was just looking at the 5-minute RSI, and 5-minute RSI was like 77 at that point, something around that, 77, 78, which on a thick big name, especially an indice, usually you want that over 80 in the mid 80s. And then for a real high flyer, which meta can definitely be a real high flyer, upper 80s, even lower 90s. So that's the only reason I didn't really take it there, because 77 just, that isn't enough conviction for me really to start. I'd rather miss it than be too early. In this case, I missed it. I think some of you caught it though, so nice job with that. Yeah, maybe someone in here elsewhere has a better scanner for you, but personally, I don't have or use one. I'm kind of just always cycling through names. And yeah, I mean, in hindsight, that's a clean short. You had the market also flush out shortly after that. You can see the SPY candle. What time is this? Like 10 a.m. And that's about, yeah, where this really dropped. I think I think you got some market help here. If the market was just kind of calm and doing nothing, this probably would have bull flagged up here. This 80 May would have caught up more, and although the short could have worked, it wouldn't have been as good. Sometimes you get the market helping you, sometimes the market hurts you in this scenario. Hindsight, it's good, but again, you did get some market help there too, so I wouldn't beat yourself up over missing that. I missed it, and you know, it is what it is. But Meta's been a super strong name, so you definitely got to be careful with that one. What do I think of NVIDIA here? NVIDIA, similar to the market, strong 3 days in a row. $127 to 130 is huge, or at least it should be huge resistance in NVIDIA. The fact that it pushed through its 208 day today is notable, I think. So, I mean, you have like this big earnings gap, I get that, but there's a ton of price congestion here. So, depending, I mean, again, we'll see what the market does tomorrow. We'll see if we get that day 4, but I think tomorrow, if the market is up again, 120, specifically 128 to 130, I think you can take a shot at a Q short NVIDIA for tomorrow. It's the leader, so, you know, despite that down move from the DeepSeek and everything, I mean, you can't be too early with that, and it's obviously the leader. It hasn't really changed much with the DeepSeek, just kind of broken technicals there. But 128 to 130, maybe 132, 128 to 132. I think you can take a shot at a cute short tomorrow in NVIDIA if it's up there. If it's not, and you're kind of just like chopping 125 or so, I wouldn't necessarily try to press it down, because it probably shouldn't have even traded up here in the first place. So yeah, 128 to 132 zone for resistance and a potential cute short in NVIDIA for tomorrow. Going over the YouTube. Let's see, a couple questions here. What's up, Roberts? I hope you're well. AMD pre-market candle at 7:45 a.m. It was a candle with the highest volume for the entire market. It was also clearing the pre-market low. Do you take those candles into consideration? If not, how would you explain entire morning selling at 108 level, where exactly that candle from pre-market starts selling off, and how did you execute, and what's your swing targets? Let's see. I'm assuming you're talking about this 745 candle with this little volume. For the most part, pre-market volume, I don't want to say it's noise, but there's just so much more big money that's only really trading the market. And obviously you can see, this is the biggest so far pre-market volume bar here. It's smaller than I think every single normal hour volume bar. So I wouldn't overly read that. And we've seen plenty of times, at least I have definitely seen plenty of times, where something is trading one way in the pre-market and you think it's maybe a hint of how it's going to trade, and then the market opens and it just goes the complete other way. So you got to take pre-market trading with a grain of salt, in my opinion. So with this, I wouldn't really overly read it. I'll just go back and read the second part of what you said. If not, how do you explain the entire morning's selling? I mean, it could just be trend following algos, just kind of riding it down a bit. I don't know. It's hard to really explain that, but again, I wouldn't take it too seriously, to be honest. So how did I execute AMD? I think I mentioned yesterday what I was going to do, but I've been buying AMD for the past few weeks under 115 and selling into 120. I widened that range on its earnings because obviously it was reporting earnings and it was giving about a $10 move or so. And because it's been so weak, you gotta be careful. I'd rather not buy enough and have it go up than buy too much too early and get kind of shaken out, or be too heavy where I'm stressed and pulling my hair out instead of just buying more the way I should be. So for today, I was buying under 110, which I actually started to do and mostly did last night. I don't think I even actually ended up buying any more today because I did it all last night. I bought low pretty much every dollar-ish or so, low 109s, low 108s, low 107s, and I would have kept doing that down to roughly 103 to 102. And if it got to that point, I don't think it should have gotten to that point, and therefore if it did, there's something wrong. I'm missing something, or I'm just flat out wrong, which obviously happens. So yeah, I was basically just kind of trading roughly 50 cent to dollar ranges, under 110, and then not selling any till I was basically buying. To make it as simple as possible, I was basically buying every dollar down and selling every $2 up. So I bought 109s, 108s, 107s roughly, and then today I sold over 110, and I have another offer which did not end up getting filled over 112, and then I would have sold 114 or so. So I am heavier today than I was going into the reports yesterday. I was able to take a little bit off today. That was my plan. Roughly, it's not exact. It depends what the name's doing. I'm not just purely doing it in pure increments. I am watching volume and watching the chart and either expanding or contracting those ranges a little bit, but we're buying roughly every dollar down and selling those buys roughly every $2 up, give or take. But that was my plan with it. Target on it, my original target was 140. I think my new target's gonna be 130 though. or upper 120s. I had an offer to get out of it yesterday in the 129s, and it got very close to it. Did not get filled on that though, and then I ended up having to deal with this today, which was fine. But I'd say 125 to 1. Part of me wants to say 125 to 130. Part of me wants to say like 150. I'm gonna assess that after a week of trading and see how this trades. If this can have like strong follow through, which would tell me that potentially this is like a decent bottom, then I might have like a 140 target. If it struggles for a week, I'll probably have a 125 to 130 target. And again, my out on this is not an exact out, but roughly 103 to 102. I don't think it really should be getting down there, and it didn't get down there. If anything, even like today's low probably shouldn't be breaking. Yeah, I hope that makes sense, Robert. And that way, when I'm doing it that way too, I'm not taking too much size and getting shaken out. And sometimes these like post earnings days can be very shaky. You poke the low a billion times before you really start to rally. So this was just a way to help me not get shaken out of it and not, buy too much, stop out, buy, stop out, buy, stop out. Yeah. If you would be flat today, how would you execute AMD? If I was flat today, hindsight's always 2020, so I'm never just gonna be like, oh, buy through this bar. Duh, that's pretty obvious. Because when you're actually trading, as you know, it's not that easy. But we did identify a 108 area seller, and it tailed and kept failing 108 multiple times. And I remember saying at one point, if this gets through 108 again, it should try to push. And I think it got through it one more time and failed, and then it finally over here got through 108. Honestly, not easy. Not easy. I don't know. I'd either be doing what I was doing and be a little bit lighter and not trying to go like full BP on an inside 5 and up or something like that. Because post earnings moves can be, again, very choppy and sloppy. Otherwise, knowing me, I probably would have seen that 108 seller, tried to buy through 108, gotten stopped out a couple of times, and then this 108 break probably would have been my third or fourth try, and that would have worked. But I would have had to take, like, I'm sure 2 or 3 losses at least, and risk 50 cents to make $2 type of thing. Risk, buy through 108, give it to 107.50, 107, and try to go for 110 or more. That's probably what I would have done, but that's a messy chart. That's a messy opening session, messy morning session. So not easy. But yeah, we did see that 108 seller. So that's probably what I would have done. Fought that 108 a bit until that fourth time. It probably would have paid me a little bit, and I'd be a little green in it after taking like 3 losses or so. Yeah, not easy. Thoughts on him short? Did you trade? What would your price target be? I didn't end up taking it. It just wasn't breaking that 42. It kept holding it. I remember we were looking at it. I was looking at it more so in the first like 15 minutes, and it tried to get through 42, came back above, came down, retested 42, couldn't really break it though. And then went through highs, and I remember it tested 42 here, and then on this bar I said watch for an inside 5, and then maybe you get an inside 5 and down through the 42 level. And within a couple minutes after I said that, it was making day highs, and I not stopped watching it, but kind of stopped focusing on it a little bit. So I didn't end up trading it. In hindsight, yeah, there's a shooting star here that you could have taken. I don't think that's necessarily too easy. And it still just couldn't break that 42 in like a real way, which tells me that tomorrow's kind of a 50-50 shot of it following through to the downside or just bull flagging sideways on the daily chart for a couple days. If I had a short target in this, it would probably be mid 38s. I don't like to target the 8-day or the 8 EMA on whatever time frame you're trading is always a good target, but you always have to keep in mind that the process of something extended getting to that moving average, even if it's just a straight shot, takes some time. And by the time you enter the trade to the time it actually corrects, more often than not, that moving average is going to be creeping higher and higher in a short case, in a long case, lower and lower. So ballpark, I'd say 39 to mid 38s. And I know that this is at 37, but if this bull flags for a couple days and then breaks lower, this 80 May is going to be, roughly up there. So usually I target a bit above the moving average. So day by day here, we'll see what this does tomorrow. Definitely not opposed to trying to short this again tomorrow, especially if we can break that 42 in a real way. But yeah, I'd probably target like 38, mid 38s, knowing that it could take a day or two. And if you need 37 and the daily 80 May is at 37, but then 2 days later it's at 38, you could be in a little bit of trouble. So you got to be careful and conservative on those counter trend trades. What's up, Apex Joy? TEM. When can it be shorted? Good question. I mean, 70 is a big level in this. Didn't really get through it. Tailed up above it and back below. I would say 70. Either tomorrow, if it's above and back below 70, you can short it back through 70. If it's up and staying above 70, I think you could start in the 73-ish area. Over 75 is definitely better conviction in that. Yeah, I feel like this pulls before it really gets over 75 in a big way. So either watch back down through 70 or like 73-ish. Sellers in 73 to 75 zone here. And it's very extended up here too. So 72 to 73, I think, is fair. Any thoughts on lemonade? It's a delicious drink in the hot summertime. I assume you're talking about this stock, though. I got jokes. Insurance, they got like pet insurance and stuff. Kind of a like Wall Street bet squeezy name. It's pretty thin. Doesn't even trade 1 million shares on the day. This chart looks pretty good, honestly. The chart looks good. 35 to 36 breakout. 36. Yeah. So, yeah, honestly kind of simple. That's a decent looking chart. 35 to 36 breakout. This isn't a great name fundamentally. I definitely don't love it, but it can squeeze for sure. And it looks like it's based out long enough and is now curling up where it could be worth a try. So yeah, 35 to 36 breakout. Definitely a decent looking chart there, Josh. All right, looks like I got through everything. Almost 5 o'clock here. Yeah, been a good week. Not what I expected the week to be coming into that gap down on Monday morning, but again, can't really complain. There's definitely been plenty to do as well. Today a little bit slower, but overall we found some good stuff. I think, at least I hope. Been trying my best. So yeah, Amazon earnings tomorrow afternoon, and then Friday January jobs number. So definitely some more stuff to get through this week. Do we have a green day every day this week? I don't think so. Is it impossible? Definitely not. And we'll see if Tariff Man comes back tomorrow as well. But for now, have a good night, everyone. See you all tomorrow morning. Take care.